Good morning, Terraria players, and welcome back to the Anarchist mod. This time, in the new 1.2 update, I am Blade Taco, Blade Borgier, Ball Rugby, Broody Broody, Belt Bobby, Blade Burger, and today we start a new journey into the Anarchist mod for Terraria.
A new update just came out for this mod, so I'm here to see what changed. A new boss, new gear, new ores, and much more in Anarchist 1.2. Here's a list of the mods I'm running in this playthrough, this time with a full list for episode 1. Take it all in, study this list, and embrace my superior mod choices. Don't forget I have a Twitter, check out my nonsense. And now, without further ado, let's get back into Anarchist. To start off before the playthrough actually begins, a few notes about Anarchist while the background footage rolls. Skip to the timestamp here if you don't care and just want the content. First note is that of strict boss progression. It's a configuration option that is enabled by default, which punishes you for progression skips and cheeses. There are required bosses to be able to progress throughout the mod. For example, Ebonstone and Crimstone is not able to be blown up by bombs until an evil boss is dead. Another is that Skeletron will be immune to damage and one-shot you if you haven't killed the new Underling boss. Stuff like that. There's a few of them throughout this mod. The second note is the relation between other mods and some known stuff that breaks. Alchemist NPC breaks the pure class system a lot, all the time actually, so it's recommended to run Alchemist NPC light instead, so you just have the NPCs and nothing else. Additionally, this mod changes early hard mode. These changes clash with Calamity Zone hard mode changes, so it's recommended to just run Anarchist. You should be running only one big content mod anyways, cause yeah, stuff tends to break. A third note is that the wiki for this mod is currently under development by the mod developer, so it's not super duper helpful for everything. There is a Discord where you can ask a lot of questions and get help from people in there, including me. Woo! It does have the location of Demon Souls on it though. A fourth note is that Louis AFK and Fargo's mutant permabuffs are disabled when running Anarchist. It is also a configuration option. Why? They're overpowered. Deal with it. And now with the notes and warnings out of the way, let's begin. As always, I start off with a large expert mode world and randomize my character 100 times. Anarchist Ali Aladdin, daughter of Anarchist Al Aladdin, is born and into the world I go. To start, this mod gives you an adventurer's satchel, replacing the starter bag from 1.1. Inside is a set of crude tools, a weapon for each class, a pure class token for each class, an enabler for Anarchy mode, an apocalyptic curse, a pandemonium mode enabler, and a spell flame. What do each of those do? Well, of course I'll answer that. Woohoo! A pure class token locks you into a class, making all other weapons either unusable by a configuration option or deal only 1 damage. Certain gear gives buffs if you are a pure class. Anarchy mode is the intended difficulty of the mod. It gives vanilla bosses new attacks, strengthens modded bosses, and has a ton of exclusive gears, as well as adding a temperature system. This run, I used it of course, as this run will be a full Anarchy mode run. As for other items, the Apocalyptic Curse makes bosses one-shot you. It's a challenge item. The Cursed Shield enables Pandemonium mode, a mode that is intentionally unbalanced and made for fun and challenge. Things happen in Pandemonium, like treasure bags exploding, or the Destroyer actually destroying blocks, or the Moonlord just randomly spawning after you kill Plantera, and even enemies that are invisible. It's a meme mode. I'll play it sometime later on. The last item, the Spell Flame, enables different proficiencies for magic damage and increases a certain magic type's damage. Are the explanations finally done? For now, there's one later. I crafted some starter box houses, then chose my class using the pure class token for Dark Artist. I know I did it already for the last playthrough, but I wanted to see all the new stuff. This time, however, I'm focusing more on the dagger side of the class, and maybe some Morning Stars, the new Dark Artist weapon added in 1.2. Instead of showcasing what Dark Artist does in this video, I have a separate video about it that will premiere a short time after this one does. I'll also have longer guides for other things in this mod as well, like Enchanting, which I'll have a short explanation for soon. Anyways, after I had built some box homes, I went exploring a little bit. It turns out that there's a corruption not too far from where I'd build my home. Ain't that fun? Of course, like any reasonable person would do, I went into it, having my first death of the run very quickly into the corruption. When I returned, I started digging a elevator straight down. I wasn't too far down when a skeleton decided to say hello and clap my sorry fresh cheeks. When I respawned, I decided to start on the house, as I wanted the Necromancer NPC from the Anarchist mod to spawn. It spawns after you die at least once, and I have twice already within an hour. I made an Instivator from Fargo's Mutant and started building. As usual, it's the classic episode 1 building montage. Enjoy, this time with a timestamp to skip. A blood moon decided to spawn. I guess anarchy mode messes with blood moon spawns, cause I haven't killed the eye and I'm still at 100 health. That's fine. During it I was able to get my first drop of the Essence of Anarchy, a crafting material that is necessary for a lot of crafting in this difficulty. Enemies also drop blood vials and blood diamonds. After the blood moon went away, I resumed building for a bit, then went underground to look for loot. I was able to find a bunch of ore, including a new sulfur ore, now reskinned from 1.1. I also just casually nabbed an obsidian bed from hell, cause why not? I found a new enemy, a prismite chunk, which replaced the prismite ore from 1.1. I didn't realize it at the time, but it takes 1 damage from everything but pickaxes. I then found a mushroom biome, and a new Anarchy exclusive drop, mushroom spores. A crafting material for early game stuff, like a dark artist totem and some weapons. I found a band of regen, a few life crystals, and lots of ore. I crafted a dark artist weapon, the golden glass. It split when thrown and had some bonus damage and healing when it stuck to enemies. Pretty strong. After some more building, I added the finishing touches to my house. Shameless promotion, be sure to subscribe. Next up, I farmed Eater of Souls, working towards the first armor set for Dark Artist, the Grim Armor set. Because I couldn't do a progression skip and go straight for the Crimtane armor, I went to this one. It required rotten flesh and vertebrae, wood from evil biomes, and some silk. After a while, the Necromancer NPC finally spawned about 4 hours in, according to my notes. He sold gear for each class, an artificial altar for crafting, spell cores for summoner and mage, and a few other things. He also allowed you to enchant your armor and weapons, but I'll get into enchanting when I actually go to enchant in my recording. I crafted Grim Armor after a little bit more of farming. Its set bonus gave extra occult healing but also reduced my life total by 10%. It had a bunch of Dark Artist buffs, so I was okay with it. I also crafted a Grim Cloak, a new item that allows you to activate a Dark Artist infusion. Press and hold a hotkey, default is X, to activate an infusion, which did a different thing based on what the cloak was. The Grim Cloak increased occult damage by 12% for 12 seconds but had a 60-second cooldown. I then went back underground, where I found a cloud in a bottle, then a boulder to the face. I crafted the Mushroom Stalk, an Anarchy exclusive Dark Artist totem. Totems are Dark Artist weapons that deal damage in an AoE, and some even have buffs when you stand inside of them. Feeling confident, I decided to take on the first boss of the run, the King Slime. Enjoy this very easy fight. King Slime down. I noticed it spawned jungle slimes. That's pretty spooky. After its defeat, the Blade Master spawned, who sold melee stuff. Opening the treasure bag gave me a first look at how the Anarchy boss loot pools would look. Each boss has a drop associated with Anarchy. King Slime's one allowed minions to inflict sulfuric acid debuff and gave an extra minion slot. Very strong for summoner. Next up, the Ranger NPC spawned, who sold Ranger related stuff. I farmed King Slime for a hot minute to be able to craft some more life crystals. Life fragments normally drop from enemies underground, but King Slime dropped a ton. Combine them with Prismite and bam, you got life crystals. I went back to farming him, eventually getting the King Slime swag drop. Swag drops are rare drops from certain bosses or enemies. They're pretty strong. Woohoo! King Slime's one was a consumable that made all slimes permanently friendly. Next up, I used an Essence of Eternity, which drops from every boss after a kill, and combined it with a suspicious looking eye to make an Eternal Eye. Then combine that with the Essence of Anarchy to make Anarchy Eye. A majority of bosses have these. They're boss summons that aren't consumable. The Eternal ones require you to kill at least one, but the Anarchy ones don't. To prepare even more to fight the Eye of Cthulhu, I went to the Necromancer to enchant my gear, and now the guide to enchanting. Oh boy. To enchant, first you need a gem sigil and the Necromancer NPC. Gem sigils are made from a certain gem and a corresponding bar. A ruby gem sigil is made from a ruby and a gold bar, for example. Diamond ones are made from a diamond and a platinum. One sigil means one enchant. Armor and weapons not made from Calaxite can be enchanted, but not accessories and equipment. It costs very little to enchant, and enchantments range from dealing increased damage during the day, to a Thorns buff, to extra defense. I'll have a video on enchanting as well shortly after this one. I was able to get Swiftfoot 4 on my Grim leggings, so I had speed equal to Hermes boots without the Hermes boots. I now felt ready to fight the Eye. As I got ready, crafting an agility potion which granted a dash for a potion's duration, I was given a message that an evil presence is watching me. Free eye fight, I'll take it. Let's see how these weapons do. Enjoy the fight. Not gonna lie, that flamethrower edition scared the crap out of me. Agility potion is very good. When I went down, Calaxite ore spawned underground near the lava layer. It needed a gold pick to mine. Inside its treasure bag, its Anarchy item increased your health by 5 and released a bunch of high damage demon eyes when you take damage. It also had a weapon for each class in its Anarchy wool pool. As for its swag drop, still don't have it. Check back in episode 2 probably. Up next, I found out that the level UI exists. When you become a pure class, you get a level bar and start to gain EXP when you kill stuff. Each level gives a skill point which can be used for different buffs. Don't forget to enable the hotkey. I of course put all my skill points into damage. Afterwards, time for the next boss and the first modded boss of Anarchist, the Nose of Cthulhu. Enjoy this meme fight. Nose of Cthulhu down. Best boss of the mod, hands down. In its bag it held the usual loot of a booger. Afterwards I went back underground to mine some Calaxite. I found a random chest that contained some starter gear. Pretty nice addition. I found a few of these while mining. After a bit, I made a Calaxite dagger. It pierced quite a few enemies. I then bought some purification powder from the Dryad, then went into the Crimson, using the powder to access the heart within so I could trigger a goblin army. When I was mining for even more Calaxite, a meteor landed, although I couldn't mine it until an evil boss was defeated. After more time, I crafted a full set of Calaxite armor. This was a very powerful set of class-neutral armor. I normally don't like class-neutral armor, but this one was a new kind of powerful. To start, you just gotta double jump on the armor. That's just on it. Its set bonus also allowed pure classes to dash like the Shield of Cthulhu. A very, very strong armor set for pre-hard mode. Big fan. When I finished making the set, a goblin army spawned. Army down. Those archers hit hard. Next up, I found the Goblin Man, then prepped for fighting the Eater of Worlds. I used a City Buster from Farger's Mutant mod to make enough space for a fight. I wasn't too worried about the Eater being in range of the space canon's surface. Now, I was ready to fight. But first, a small note, as I like to do all the time in this video. This fight was recorded in Anarchist version 1.2.3.3. Until the last boss I fight this episode, the Frost Sail, all of the rest is 1.2.3.3. In the 1.2.3.4 update, which came out after I finished recording for this episode, the Eater and Brain become immune to Dark Artist totems in 1.2.3.4. You'll see why I petitioned the developer of Anarchist to make this change. Enjoy this quick fight. Eater of Worlds down. You can see why the totems got nerfed. This fight wasn't hard at all. Its Anarchy item from its treasure bag was an equipment that allowed you to inflict cursed flames, sometimes on attacks. Pretty strong. Next up, I mined the meteorite. Pretty easy. Thanks, Vein Miner. I then realized that the mutant sold the Bloody Spine, or the Fargo's mutant version of it, so I just simply converted it to the vanilla game summon, then upgraded it to the Anarchy Brain using Essence of Anarchy. Before I go into the brain fight, another note! Yeah! In Anarchy mode on the surface, creepers are completely immune to damage, so just fight it in the main heart chamber. Onwards with the fight. Brain of Cthulhu down. You can see why totems got nerfed. Its Anarchy equipment allowed attacks to inflict Ichor. Pretty strong. Now that I had access to a pick that can mine Hellstone, I did just that. I also grabbed a lot of Magma Stone, a new ore that spawned deep underground. Why grab Magma Stone, you may ask? Instead of having to look all over for Obsidian, Magma Stone acted as a replacement for Obsidian when making Hellstone bars. It's the little things that make this mod great. After a while of mining, I made the Totem of Regeneration, which had a small area of damage but gave increased life regen. I then made almost 250 Hellstone bars from all that I had collected. I crafted the Fire Drake, a Dark Artist dagger. I then made a bunch of Dark Alloy, crafted from a Hellstone bar, Demonite or Crimtane bar, and a Gold or Platinum bar. They went into a new armor set, the Dark Armor. The armor was very strong, giving a multitude of buffs to Dark Artists. Its set bonus was the first to grant a revive when killed, with pure Dark Artist reviving to 30 health with a 2.5 minute cooldown. Very strong. It also decreased your life by 15%. Oh no. I of course enchanted the heck out of it using the Necromantic Sigil, which gave a better chance to roll higher level enchantments. I then made an Arcturum Fragment, a consumable which increased my max Arcturum by 100. Big increase. I made the Shield of Celestials, an Anarchy only upgrade to the Shield of Cthulhu. It granted boosts to all stats when equipped. Up next, preparation for the next modded boss, the Frost Cell. I explored the ice biome to get materials to summon it. Ice crystals were dropped by any enemy in the underground tundra. I crafted the summon item, then upgraded to its Anarchy version of the summon. I then crafted the Heart of Anarchy, bronze version. This was a non-consumable upgraded to health. It could only be used once to give you a permanent 25 health. It could also later be upgraded throughout the game. And now it was time to take on the Frost Cell. The major issue, however, is its enrage mechanic. The arena I constructed had a small area, about 10 by 10 blocks wide, where it wasn't snow biome, but the purity biome instead, so it enraged and just kinda killed me. I had a solution, however, and I recommend it to anyone who's having trouble with this boss due to it enraging. It's called Fountains and Fargo's Mutant. Essentially how this works is, Fargo's Mutant has a configuration option to make fountains create a biome in a big area when turned on. And so it was time to actually fight the Queen Bee right on progression for the first time since I started making Terraria videos. But first, I hate fighting it actually in the underground, so I made a plan. Jungle exploration time. I went deep into the jungle to look for two things, enough materials to make an abomination, and an anklet of the wind. My first trip got cut short, as going into the jungle water has a chance to give you leeches, which drain your life quicker and quicker as it stays on. The fisherman NPC from Anarchist can remove them though. On my second trip, I spent an hour or so searching. I got the materials very quickly for the abomination, but there was no anklet to be found. I spent long enough, in fact, that I got enough mines to manually craft the anklet using a recipe from the Anarchist mod. I upgraded my boots all the way to Frostbark boots, then made the Fargo's variant of the abomination, so I can fight the Queen Bee in my own turf. Here's the Anarchy version of Queen Bee. Enjoy this fight. Queen Bee down. I like the Anarchy changes. Its Anarchy exclusive equipment gave a very large boost to your life regen, but your healing potions were 10% less effective. A decent trade-off. And now I felt ready for the frost sale. I bought the fountain from the witch doctor, enchanted my armor with Iron 3, which gave buffs to defense and damage during the day, and went to my arena, placing and activating the fountain. And now time to fight the frost sale. Enjoy the fight now with music working in this one. Frost sailed down. I like this fight now that it didn't enrage. Inside its treasure bag, it held a crafting item for her equipment later, and its Anarchy item was a consumable that increased heat resistance. And that is it for this first leg of my adventure in Anarchist 1.2. Upgrades this episode are as follows: from absolutely nothing, to Grim Armor, to Calaxite, and on to Dark Armor. I added a multitude of Anarchy drops to my equipment, including the Eye of Cthulhu's equipment, Queen Bees, and the Shield of Celestials. I added the Emerald Prism, Cloud in a Balloon, and the Frostbark boots to my gear. As for weapons, I went from the Crude Dagger to the Golden Glass to the Fire Drake to the Shade Scale, as well as the Totem of Regeneration and the Tome of Necromancy. Next episode, we proceed into hard mode and see how this mod changed it, and even how some of the mech bosses have been tweaked with the Anarchy mode additions. Stay tuned for that one next week. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Blade Burger out.